Tales of the Underworld is here, and let's just say this is
a surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Asajj Ventress and Cad Bane return for what might go down as one of the best Star Wars projects ever.
That's impossible!
Search your feelings, you know it to be true.
And I honestly think that isn't even an over-exaggeration. This is close to or even on the same level as Tales of the Jedi. And in this video, we're breaking down the first 3 episodes about Asajj Ventress. Because not only did it explain how Asajj Ventress is still alive after she died in the canon novel Dark Disciple, but it also sets up a future story for Asajj Ventress with her new apprentice. But there is so much that goes on in these very short 3 episodes. So let's break it down. Episode 1 is titled A Way Forward, and it opens on Dathomir, with Quinlan Vos holding a dead Asajj Ventress with Obi-Wan Kenobi at his side. Now, if you haven't read the Dark Disciple novel, that might sound crazy to you, but I will try to explain the hundreds of pages in that novel very quickly. So towards the end of the Clone Wars, the Jedi Order wants Count Dooku dead. The Council has come to the conclusion that the death of one is a lot better than the death of many, because an assassination attempt on Dooku's life is not the Jedi way, but they agree that it's what has to be done. So they send Jedi Master Quinlan Vos on a mission to go get Asajj Ventress on his side so that the two of them can take down Count Dooku together. Now, to make a really long story short, in their training, Quinlan Vos and Asajj Ventress fall in love. But when the truth is revealed to Asajj that the only reason Quinlan is there is because he is a Jedi and he's trying to assassinate Count Dooku, well, Asajj still agrees to the plan and takes Quinlan Vos to Dathomir for training. Here he learns the ways of the Night Sisters in the way of the dark side, and the ability that Asajj Ventress has now mastered to use both the light side and the dark side. But Quinlan's training was not enough, and when they face Dooku and lose, Quinlan Vos falls to the dark side, but not fully. Again, to make a long story short, Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Asajj Ventress go to save Quinlan Vos from Count Dooku's capture, and it's during that rescue mission that Asajj Ventress dies, sacrificing herself to save Quinlan Vos from Count Dooku. Now, we know that Asajj Ventress is not dead because she just recently appeared in The Bad Batch Season 3. So this Tales of the Underworld Episode 1 starts with explaining how is she alive. And let's just say this explanation is crazy and might be introducing something that is going to play a huge role in the Mandoverse. Because we find ourselves on Dathomir with Quinlan Vos and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Quinlan places Asajj Ventress in a pool of water. And as her dead body descends into the water, she wakes up and she hears the voice of Mother Talzin. Mother Talzin was the leader of the Night Sisters before they got massacred by General Grievous in the Clone Wars. And she is one of the strongest beings in the galaxy with the Force, or Night Sister magic. Talzin then gives Asajj Ventress an option. She can remain dead forever and join her other sisters that all got massacred by General Grievous, or she can go back to the land of the living. However, she will have to give up her love for Quinlan. And well, we know that Asajj Ventress chooses life. Now, this is very significant because with Night Sisters, we don't really know the full abilities of their magic. And bringing Asajj Ventress back to life like this, that sets up an insane possibility in the Mandoverse. As at the end of Ahsoka Season 1, Grand Admiral Thrawn just arrived on Dathomir with hundreds, if not thousands, of Night Sisters wielding magic to combat the Force users of Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa, Ezra Bridger, and others. And probably the biggest reason that Asajj Ventress is brought back to life, and we got this Tales of the Underworld to explain how, is so that when it happens in the Mandalorian and Grogu movie or Ahsoka Season 2, we will understand it. And we won't be completely confused and wondering how the hell did that even happen, because this right here explains it. But that, my friends, is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to this Tales of the Underworld series. As we skip forward in time to where Asajj Ventress is now during the time of the Empire. The Clone Wars has ended. Clone troopers are gone and now replaced with stormtroopers. And Asajj Ventress is laying low, working as a security guard at this docking bay. And although she seems to be living the simple life, things get very complicated quickly when this kid arrives. His name is Lyko. From the looks of it, he's a new character in the Star Wars timeline. Although many fans thought this could be Jod Na Nawood from Skeleton Crew, or maybe even Balin Skoll from Ahsoka, it looks highly likely that this is a new character. But we don't know who his master was, and we don't really know anything else about the character except for his name. But things go sideways very quickly when the Empire arrives, as they know there's a Jedi running around, and there's a large reward for that Jedi's capture. So Asajj and Lyko have to take out all these stormtroopers and a probe droid, and go on the run trying to escape the Empire. Well, on the run, Lyko confirms what many fans have been speculating about for years, and that is that after Order 66, there was a hidden path set up by the Jedi, pretty much like an underground railroad type deal for the Jedi who survived Order 66, to keep them safe and far away from the Empire's eyes. And he confirms that Quinlan Vos and others are the ones who set it up. So now, Asajj Ventress is tasked with getting this kid to the hidden path, to Quinlan, the man that she once loved, and maybe even get to rekindle that love. This is not the first time that the hidden path has been mentioned in Star Wars. It's a huge plot point in the Jedi games, Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, following Cal Kestis, an Order 66 survivor who is probably very similar age to Lyko. But we also heard about the hidden path in the Kenobi series. When Obi-Wan and Leia are trying to escape Darth Vader, we even hear a mention of Quinlan Vos, as his name was etched into this wall in one of the secret entrances to one of the hidden path's resources. So keep that in mind as we break down the rest of these episodes, because the hidden path might be getting its own show eventually. But Asajj helps the kid to this transport and even gives him some credits to get out of town. But it's too late. An Inquisitor has found them. Now, this Inquisitor has still not been given a name yet, but he's actually pretty damn good with a lightsaber. All these Inquisitors have been trained by the Grand Inquisitor and Darth Vader themselves. And this brings me back to Star Wars Rebels days. And if you guys know me, you know I'm a huge Star Wars Rebels fan, so it's great. But this lightsaber duel between Asajj Ventress and this Inquisitor is very different from the one between Ahsoka Tano and the Inquisitor in Tales of the Jedi. That's a very quick duel where Ahsoka immediately chops off his head. And although it's great, I prefer this one. Asajj Ventress, this Inquisitor, going at it. It's been quite a long time since we got a crazy lightsaber duel in this Clone Wars animation, and it feels so good to be back. But as the fight goes on, the Inquisitor gets the upper hand, and just as it looks like Asajj is going to die again, Lyko stabs the Inquisitor through the chest. And the episode ends with Asajj telling Lyko who she is, how she was the lead assassin for Count Dooku during the time of the Clone Wars. So episode 1 started with a bang, explaining how Asajj Ventress lived through the events of Dark Disciple, giving us an incredible lightsaber duel in the Clone Wars animation between Asajj Ventress and this Inquisitor, and introducing a new character in the Star Wars timeline in Lyko. Episode 1 to me is an easy 9.5 out of 10, maybe even higher. But this Tales of the Underworld show continues at that rate, which brings us to episode 2. This episode is titled Friends, in reference to some Clone Wars familiar faces that we're going to see in this episode. But it opens on a very underworld-looking planet. Now, it's not specified what planet this is, but it could be the planet of Nar Shaddaa, which in Star Wars is pretty much the main underworld planet, where a lot of the crime syndicate and bounty hunting stuff goes on. Right away, we see that Lyko doesn't really trust Asajj anymore after she revealed that she once worked for Dooku. But as Asajj assures him, if she wanted him dead, he'd be dead. So these two start out as foes. One was a Padawan to a Jedi, and the other one was a Sith acolyte. However, as the title implies, through this episode, they become friends. And that is when we get reintroduced to two characters from the Clone Wars. A droid bounty hunter named C-21 Highsinger, or I guess Highsinger for short, and Latz Razi, as we see the two of them take down what looks like Dexter Jester if he had a couple bad years. Maybe his diner shut down and he hit the gym a little bit and got some axes. You know, after Obi-Wan went to visit him, he had a pretty rough go of it. They don't talk about how Order 66 changed the dining industry on Coruscant, and Dexter Jester clearly has been through some tough times. Okay, but in all seriousness, we get to see these two badass characters take down their bounty to establish that they are badass. Asajj asks Latz about the hidden path, to which she responds with, "Don't even bother with that. It's not worth the money. Getting a Jedi, the bounties are really high, but there's no way you're going to come out of that alive. But if you're looking for a big score, we got a pretty big bounty, but we'd need your help." And Ventress agrees to help them with this mission in exchange for information about the path. Now, that mission is actually a really cool one, because we get to see more of the transition from the Republic to the Empire. In the Bad Batch, we got to see how the clone troopers were phased out and the stormtroopers were brought to be. And now we get to see how the Venator ships were phased out and how the Star Destroyers came to be, as they're going to steal an Imperial Shield Relay unit from a shipyard on Kasaro. Now, unknowingly, Lyko outs himself as a Jedi by telling them that the Venators have quad-range detectors on them, because as Latz puts it, only a Jedi or a clone would know that kind of information, and he's no clone. As they arrive on Kasaro, we get to see them break into this Imperial Shield Relay unit. Now, this might look familiar because you've definitely seen it before on a Star Destroyer, but what's really cool is you get get to see the Star Destroyers being built in the background. Because as I mentioned before, these are what take the place of the Venators that we see from the Clone Wars. And after a lot of crazy action and blasting, the part that they came for is destroyed. And Lats comes up with a new plan. Let's take the bounty on the little kid Jedi and leave Asajj Ventress here to die. And well, let's just say that doesn't really work out for them, as Asajj Ventress saves Lyco's life and, in turn, gaining his trust, and holds a lightsaber up to Lat's head as she demands the intel for the hidden path. And the episode ends with them being dropped off back on what could be Nar Shaddaa, and it's a very different conversation from the beginning of the episode, because at the beginning, it was all about how Lyco doesn't trust Asajj, because she used to be a separatist and a Sith assassin, and this mission they went on changed everything. So as Lyco says at the end of this episode, he trusts her now, as he hands her the information for the hidden path. Now, episode 2, not quite as good as episode 1, but still great, don't get me wrong. Getting to see familiar characters from the Clone Wars is always great, and getting to see the transition from the Republic to the Empire is such a cool detail that takes place in this time period. But this is more of a connecting episode, setting up the third and final arc for this hidden path. So with that being said, I give episode 2 an 8.7 out of 10. Great action sequences, great storytelling, and I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet in this breakdown video, but the animation is just incredible in this series. They've really figured it out when it comes to this Clone Wars animation style. But that brings us to episode 3. Which is titled One Warrior to Another. And that is in reference to a separatist. But we'll get to that in a second. As the episode opens with Asajj Ventress and Lyco riding across the desert. The intel from episode 2 has brought them here, looking for a canyon and a shuttle for the hidden path. But they have run out of water, and they have no idea where they are going. So they arrive at this homestead in the middle of the desert, and it's surrounded by B-1 battle droids. B-1 battle droids were the army of the separatists, and Asajj Ventress knows them oh so well. But these battle droids aren't even activated, and it looks like they're holding some sort of cardboard weaponry. And as they walk by the battle droids, Asajj Ventress says they're as effective as always. Because although there's probably billions of them created, the B-1 battle droids were pretty useless. As they knock on the door, they are met with blaster fire from this little girl. And as they ignite their lightsabers, we actually see Lyco take this position, possibly alluding to who his master might be. But tell me in the comments who you think Lyco's master was. And as Lyco and Asajj Ventress enter, we get introduced to this girl's grandfather. And we quickly learn that he was once a separatist. And he recognizes Asajj Ventress for being the apprentice to Count Dooku. So he immediately trusts her. But this is what I love about this show and the Bad Batch and even the Mandalorian, is getting to see separatists and seeing how they are affected by Order 66. Because so many people followed Count Dooku in the separatist way. So with Order 66, although all the Jedi died, there are still so many separatists out there. People who believed in Count Dooku and believed in the cause. And seeing this old man struggle with giving up the war is really cool as well. Lyco asks if they can help them get to Cypher Canyon, the place where they're supposed to meet this hidden path. But the old man tells them about their struggles with the raiders and their lack of water, as he is now confined to a chair, when before he could have gone out and gotten water for him and his granddaughter. But in his latest fight against these raiders, he got hit and now can no longer stand. And behind him, we see the heads of these raiders mounted on the wall, or at least their masks. So they strike a deal. They will help them get to Cypher Canyon if they help them get water. Seems simple enough. However, when they get to this spring and fill up the water buckets, they are attacked by these small little alien creatures. Although they might not look too scary, outnumber them quite a bit. And after this epic chase scene with a huge crash, Lyco stops the fight. Instead of them blasting all these raiders and slicing and dicing them with a lightsaber, he understands these raiders. They're attacking them because they are stealing their water. Because he is a Jedi, he's able to communicate with these aliens and strike a peace deal, which will be a little difficult to convince the old separatist man, but Asajj is able to, because the fighting needs to end. Although he has killed many of these raiders, they've gotten to him too, and now he's confined to a chair. He even freaks out when he learns that Lyco was a Jedi, because the separatists' main bad guys are the Jedi. However, times have changed, and as he puts it, it's hard to let things go. But Asajj Ventress helps him, taking his blaster away as they agree on peace between the two parties. And with that, one of these raiders leads them to Cypher Canyon, where we see a ship from the hidden path being loaded. But Asajj is not going. Either she doesn't want to, or the deal that she made with the Night Sisters to come back to life doesn't allow her to, as Quinlan Voss might be there. But she tells Lyko that this is his path. He's a good Jedi, and he deserves this freedom from the Empire. And as Asajj Ventress is leaving, she watches the ship fly overhead, but Lyko is not on it, as he remains with Asajj as her new apprentice. And that ends episode 3. Honestly, I don't know what they're doing here, setting up Asajj Ventress for a future with this kid. Clearly, they didn't bring back Asajj Ventress from the dead for nothing. There will be more stories with Asajj Ventress, but the questions remain. When and where will we see this extension of her story? Will it be a hidden path show, or will she eventually come to live action with her new apprentice named Lyko? Tell me in the comments below. But with that being said, I rate episode 3 8.5 out of 10. I love this side of Star Wars where we get to see the Separatists and get to see their side of post-Order 66. But I just think the first 2 episodes were better, especially that first one that just blew me away. But overall, the Asajj Ventress arc of Tales of the Underworld was incredible. When you put it side by side against Ahsoka's and Count Dooku's arcs in Tales of the Jedi, it rivals it. It's probably even better than Ahsoka's. But tell me what you think in the comment section below. Rank these 3 episodes out of 10, and as you're watching this video right now, I'm either working on or have already finished the breakdown for the 3 episodes about Cad Bane. And let me just tell you, Cad Bane's my favorite bounty hunter, and this was insane. Getting to see the origin story of Cad Bane, so freaking good. Well, let's not forget, Andor Season 2 is right in the middle of that season as well. And I've broken down all of the first 6 episodes, so go check out these breakdown videos right here.